Welcome to the Save My Thyroid podcast, hosted by Dr. Eric Osansky. To stay up to date on the latest thyroid health-related topics, make sure to subscribe on your podcast player. And to get your free thyroid and immune health restoration action points checklist, visit SaveMyThyroidChecklist.com. The following discussion is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. Please do not apply any of this information without first speaking with your doctor. Now let's head to the show.
Hey, this is Dr. Eric, and in this Q&A episode, I am going to answer the question, how does the thyroid affect the mitochondria? So the mitochondria are the energy powerhouses of the cells, as they use oxygen to convert glucose to an energy-storing molecule called adenosine triphosphate, also known as ATP. And mitochondria have numerous other functions. They're involved in neurotransmission, muscle contraction, cardiac function, as well as DNA and RNA synthesis. So before chatting about the relationship between thyroid health and mitochondrial health, I want to first talk about free radicals. So free radicals are unstable atoms that can damage cells, and oxidative stress usually means that there is an excess of free radicals and or a decrease of antioxidants, such as glutathione, which is the master antioxidant. So if you have too much oxidative stress, this can result in damage to cells, can result in something called mitochondrial dysfunction. And there could be numerous causes of oxidative stress. Again, low antioxidants, having a high toxic burden, certain infections, as well as hyperthyroidism. So yes, having elevated thyroid hormone levels can also cause oxidative stress. So now let's talk about thyroid hormones and how they can impact mitochondrial health. So thyroid hormones act directly on mitochondria, and they stimulate energy production within mitochondria. Also, this is very interesting. So thyroid hormones stimulate what's called mitochondriogenesis, and this is the formation of mitochondria. And so if you don't have healthy levels of thyroid hormones, you won't have healthy mitochondria, and as a result, you have depleted levels of ATP. On the other hand, if you have too much thyroid hormone, such as is the case with Graves' disease, toxic multinodular goiter, subacute thyroiditis, this can also cause depleted levels of ATP through another mechanism. Again, it could cause oxidative stress, which can cause mitochondrial dysfunction. And let's now talk a little bit about how Graves' disease and Hashimoto's relate to the mitochondria. So first of all, when we talk about autoimmune conditions are associated with oxidative stress. And again, oxidative stress can cause damage to the mitochondria, can lead to mitochondrial dysfunction. And then as far as the research goes, now this isn't directly related to Graves, but hyperthyroidism, again, associated with tissue oxidative injury. Again, this is from the research. And as a result, hyperthyroidism can lead to an increase in mitochondrial damage, which I already mentioned. However, the same study actually discussed how thyroid hormone can activate mitochondrial mechanisms, which provide protection against tissue dysfunction. So this is the same way of saying that you need healthy levels of thyroid hormone levels. If you have too little, it's not good for the mitochondria. And if you have too much, it also is not good. It could lead to mitochondrial dysfunction. And then thyroid medication. So as far as antithyroid medication, so research shows that mitochondria that are located in the hepatocytes, which are the liver cells, these can be damaged when taking antithyroid medication, such as methimazole or PTU. On the other hand, if someone doesn't have enough thyroid hormone, if they're hypothyroid, then taking thyroid hormone replacement can be beneficial in some cases. If you're taking too much thyroid hormone, then that might cause oxidative stress and cause mitochondrial dysfunction. So again, it's all about balance. And also important to mention that certain beta blockers can decrease coenzyme Q10. Propranolol, for example, is a beta blocker that could affect CoQ10. A lot of people with hyperthyroidism take propranolol. Hey, this is Dr. Eric. And if you're looking to do everything you can to save your thyroid, in addition to listening to this podcast, there are a few different ways we can help you. First of all, I've written 3 books on thyroid health, 2 related to hyperthyroidism and 1 related to Hashimoto's. And you can get all of them on Amazon, or to learn more about them, visit SaveMyThyroid.com/thyroid books. Second, you can also join my Graves disease and Hashimoto's healing community by visiting savemythyroid.com/thyroid group. And finally, if you want to get personal help from me, you can visit the website workwithdreric.com. Just to let you know, I only see a limited number of new patients each month, and I do require anyone interested to complete a brief online application before working with me. And now back to the show. And so CoQ10, it's a powerful antioxidant that plays a role in reducing oxidative stress, as well as activating the mitochondria. So if you're taking a beta blocker, it might be a good idea to consider taking CoQ10. You could take either ubiquinone, or ubiquinol converts into ubiquinol. So some people just take the ubiquinol. Finally, I want to discuss 4 factors that could damage the mitochondria, but also can play a role in thyroid autoimmunity. So also can play a role in the development of Graves' disease or Hashimoto's. So first, environmental chemicals. We live in a toxic world, not getting any better. If anything, it's getting worse. And a lot of these environmental toxins and toxicants can cause oxidative stress, damage the mitochondria, but also they could be a trigger of thyroid autoimmunity, or in some cases, they could affect permeability of the gut, so lead to a leaky gut. The leaky gut is that part of the triad of autoimmunity, or the 3-legged stool of autoimmunity. It could be a factor in that way. A second factor that could damage the mitochondria, infections, such as certain viruses, and infections can also play a role in the development of autoimmune thyroid conditions. Stress. So stress also can cause oxidative stress, damage mitochondria, especially like more chronic stress. And without question, stress can also be a potential trigger. In my case, in my situation with Graves, I'm pretty sure that not only emotional stress was a factor, but physical stressors, overtraining. I definitely was over-exercising, which I mentioned in previous episodes. And the fourth and final factor that I want to mention, nutrient deficiencies. So nutrient deficiencies can also play a role in mitochondrial dysfunction and mitochondrial damage. And I wouldn't say they're a trigger of thyroid autoimmunity, but again, they can play a role in thyroid autoimmunity. For example, if someone has a deficiency in selenium is very important when it comes to thyroid health, thyroid autoimmunity. And in fact, a few different studies show that having or supplementing with selenium, for example, can decrease thyroid antibodies. And taking selenium while pregnant can prevent, in some cases, postpartum thyroiditis from developing. So again, certain nutrients, I just picked on selenium here. Also worth mentioning that selenium preserves mitochondrial function by reducing oxidative stress and also stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis. Again, this is the research that I came across. So selenium can reduce the incidence of mitochondrial dysfunction from occurring, but also stimulate the formation of mitochondria as well. So the selenium, very important. Obviously, all the nutrients are important, but just wanted to highlight selenium here. So that is my answer to the question. How does the thyroid affect the mitochondria? Again, it affects it in numerous ways. I mentioned how thyroid hormones act directly on the mitochondria and they stimulate the formation of mitochondria. But if you have too much thyroid hormone, this could cause oxidative stress, which can damage the mitochondria. I also mentioned how antithyroid medications such as methimazole and PTU can damage the mitochondria and the liver cells. And then I also mentioned 4 factors that could damage mitochondria, that could cause mitochondrial dysfunction, while also playing a role in thyroid autoimmunity. And this includes environmental toxins or toxicants, infections, stress, as well as nutrient deficiencies. As usual, I hope you found this Q&A episode to be super valuable, and I look forward to catching you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Save My Thyroid podcast. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit subscribe to stay up to date on the latest thyroid health-related topics. And to get your free thyroid and immune health restoration action points checklist, visit SaveMyThyroidChecklist.com. Thanks so much for tuning in.